Dear participants, welcome to this online course on AutoCAD 2D drafting, beginners to expert level course. And today we are conducting the session for dimensioning technique for building drawing. In our previous session, we have started the topic of dimensioning using AutoCAD. So there we have seen some of the basic commands, that is linear dimension, angular dimension, and then the align dimension and all these things. So today now we will proceed with that, how these dimensions can be shown beautifully in the our building drawing. So in our today's session, we will first create some sample building drawing quickly, and then we will try to use our dimensioning menu and dimension commands to show the dimension of the building properly. So in this uh, step, we will first, I will share my screen of the AutoCAD and we will proceed with creating some of the drawing. So you can just see that I have just start from scratch the fresh drawing, and the name of the drawing that you can see at the top is, that is drawing 1. So first of all, because I want to just create a building drawing and I want to save that file, so I will just draw one simple line here by using the line command. I will just draw one line, and typically I will save this drawing by clicking on this icon, that is save command. So this is very good quick toolbar given in the AutoCAD 2025 version, where we can see that by clicking on this we can easily save the drawing. Now as we know that for saving our professional drawings, so we have to give the proper name to that. So I am just giving here dimensioning practice or dimensioning building drawing. This type of name I am giving to this. And now here you have to remember that we are always saving our drawing on the D drive, that is other than C drive. And there we already created one folder, that is AutoCAD building drawings. So in this folder I am saving the file, that is dimensioning the building drawing. This file I am saving. So I have clicked on the save, and you can see that now the name was appeared here, D colon AutoCAD building drawing and dimensioning building drawing. So now in this file, we have to proceed with the giving the dimension to that. Now, as soon as you know that if you have started this fresh drawing, and if you are drawing some of the small objects with the millimeter dimension, so I will just try to show here this one rectangle, and then I can have some of the pentagon. So I will just go to the number of sides of 5, and in the edge mode, I will just draw one of the here. And now in this way, you can just go to here. So already we have seen that for the dimensioning of the object, there are various types of commands, that is linear dimension, align dimension, angular dimension, arc length dimension, radius, diameter, and the jog dimension and ordinate. In our previous session, we have seen all about this, how these dimensions commands can be used. Now, basically, I am just using now here the linear dimension command to show the side of this rectangle. Now, you can just see that this is the very small rectangle having 1110 comma 01. So that is one of the important thing that you have to see here. There should not be any comma, and this font is not proper. Most of the other things are very nice, but this is the thing here. Now another way I can just show the align dimension to this polygon. So I will just go to this align dimension, and I will click this point and this point, and then the dimension is shown parallel to this inclined line by using the align dimension command. So same, there is also you can find the mistake that there is a not dot, but it is a comma. So 65 comma 47. Actually, it should be 65.47, and other things are okay. So in this way, just I can show the align dimension also, or angular between these two lines. So this is the one of the angle that I have shown. Or similarly, you can draw the circular objects, and you can show the radius and the diameter of that. But in this respect, these are the small drawings that I have used the millimeter dimension to show. But when we create the building drawing, so there we have to understand the size of the building, and the building object is a large one, and we use the dimension in the millimeter. So in that, I will just try to create one of the small building plan. So here I am drawing one rectangle whose size is at 3000 comma 3600. So here I am giving the dimension. For that, the horizontal distance should be 3 meter, means 3000 millimeter, and vertical distance should be 3.6 meter, that is 3600 meter. And I am pressing the enter here, so that this one of the rectangle was created having dimension 300 by 3600. Now I have to also show the thickness of the wall. So I am using offset command, and I will give the offset distance as 230. And after pressing the enter, I will offset this line outside. So you can just see that I have done all these things. But now that room is not visible on the screen. So for that, there are two options are there. Either you have to double click the mouse middle button so that you can make the zoom extend command, or you can press the zoom extend command from this toolbar. So at this time now I am clicking here zoom extend command. So you can see that the all room is visible to the screen. But here these drawings become small because they are already in the small dimension. I will just move them aside, and now we will focus on our building drawing. Now this is one of the room I have created. Now I want to show some of the door location. So I will just draw one small line here. Then I will offset for the door dimension, that is about 900, and this line will be here. And now I will trim the unnecessary part of the door lines. So this I have deleted. Now if you want to show at all the window, so you can show the window. So for that I am just showing at the middle here one line, and then the offset distance for 750 on both the ends. So this line goes here and this line goes here. Now I will delete this line, and in between that just I will draw one of the small simple symbol I am now using for the window. So this is my window. So in this way I have tried to complete just one small building room. Now I want to show the dimension of the sajja here. So all the dimensions now you have to follow. Suppose you want to show the steps. So you can start by using the line command. You can move aside here by 230, and you can come forward by 600. So you can accommodate the two steps. Now I will take the projection by using object snap tracking, and this is the steps for entering into my room. So this small uh, building drawing that I have created, and now for this room I will just show again one of the toilet block. So I will just offset for 1200 here, and I will offset this wall outside. But you see that this is the polyline, so it is automatically getting. So we have to explode this line. So I will just use the explode command, and I will explode this rectangle into the line segment. Now I can separately offset this single line by distance 1200. This is 1.2 meter. Now again I will offset this by 230, that is wall thickness. And now here I will just join line command here. So we will use line command, and now this is one of the line, and then again I will just take the projection, and this is again one of the toilet block. So here I have to show the offset by 2100, so that is 2.1 meter below, and now again by 230 offset. So this is again wall, and now I will trim the remaining part. So for that I have to extend this line at this up to end, and then I will trim the unnecessary lines. And in this way just I have created one room and then one toilet. So I have to show the door to the toilet block. So I can join again here this line, and the width of the door I can take at 750 millimeter, and I will offset this line down, and then I will trim the unnecessary lines for the door entry of the toilet. So you can see that this is the one small plan I have created having one room and with attached toilet. Now, dear friends, now we have to observe that how the dimensions can be given to this room. So first of all, I will try to use the linear dimension command here. So I will just go to here linear dimension, and I will try to show the inside dimension of this room. So I have clicked this point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and I have dragged this line. So you can just check out with that. So the dimension is shown actually here. It was shown in very small sizes, that is 3000. But this is not properly appearing in the drawing. So that is the one of the difficulty, that while dimensioning the building drawing, the sizes of this arrow and the text and the dimension line, all that they are not proper. So suppose I want to show the thickness of the wall. So you can just check out that. Suppose I will try to show the thickness from this point to this point, and I will show it here. So actually it is, by enlarging, it is showing 230 properly. But when I will look after to the whole part of the plan, so then I am not getting identified that this dimension is 230. So we have to resolve this problem. And for that, today's session is very much important. So you have to note down the step by steps, how we are proceeding for giving the good dimension, proper dimensions for the building drawing. So first of all, the first step is now that you have to create the one text style. So you always know that the default font for the AutoCAD text is TXT. So that we have to change, and we want to use the AutoCAD. So that already we have seen in the text command, we are using the Arial font. So here also same thing I will do. I am going to annotation panel, and on the here text style, I will click here and I will go to the manage text style. Now in the manage text style, I will create a new text style for which I am giving the name as style 1 ARIAL, Arial. I am using the Arial font here. So only thing is that you have to give the name of the style, click OK, and just only change the font to Arial. So this is the Arial font I have changed. And now this style, that is style 1 Arial, that is the text style I have created, I have to use for my drawing. So I will click on the set current and then yes. So first I need to apply, then set current, and then close. Now means in my drawing, now the Arial font is ready to use. So that is the first step. So step 1 is to create the text style. Now that I have completed. Now I can just try that by using the multi-line text command. I can drag here and draw the text box, and I can type the name of the room. That is, I can just go for that in the capital letter, bed, room, and you can see that now the size of that text is very proper, and I am giving the dimension in the meter, and I will click outside to close this text editor box. So you can again see that the size of the text that I have shown here, it is very much small, as you can just enlarge here, and you can see that we have written it properly, but the proper dimension of this text is also important for the building drawing. So you have to remember that the minimum size of the text to be used in the building drawing should be 250 millimeter. For the building drawing, minimum dimension of the text we have to use should be 250 millimeter. But as now you may have been learned in the building drawing knowledge, so the main heading should be of 5 mm, means in our AutoCAD drawing it shall be 500 mm. So which we are using on the drawing sheet, the main heading of 5 mm, here we have to take it as 500 millimeter. Then subheading, there in the physical drawing on the paper, we use the size as 4 mm. So 4 mm letters, height letters we are using. So here we have to take that subheading height should be 400 millimeter. Then for the other description text and for the dimension text, we use the 3 millimeter or 2.5 millimeter text in the physical drawing. Now here in the AutoCAD, we have to take as 250 millimeter or 300 millimeter. So this important change you have to note down about the height of the text to be written in the building drawing. So now you can just check out that. Suppose I will select this text, that is bedroom, which is not appearing properly in my building drawing. So this is my whole building drawing. So to view it properly, we have to select that text, and you can go to the text style dialog box. This is the properties, and here you can find out the text height, and that I have to make at least, actually it shall be 300, means 3 millimeter letters will be there. Now you can just see that it is now appearing properly. So I can drag this in the proper way, and at the same time you have to change the alignment of this. So I have changed the middle center. So this is now proper. Now to keep this at the room center, I will just move this aside, and now I will try to draw one of the diagonal of the room. So that room diagonal is starting from this corner to this corner. So this is the diagonal. So I will move the center of this text to the center of this diagonal. So in this way, the text was automatically exactly fitted at the center of the room. So these dimensions lines now I will delete because they are not properly giving the dimension of the building drawing. So that I have done. So this is one of the important thing that for the text height, you have to adjust the text height to minimum 300 millimeter. So this is very much important for the building drawing. So that is all about the dimensioning. Now with these dimensions, suppose you want to give the title to this. So suppose this is a ground floor plan. So same text you can use. So either you can just go to the grip mode. You can press the space bar and move command will appear. You can type C for copy and you can just copy here and click here. So the text was get copied. Now you can double click on this so that the height will remain automatically 300. You can note down that the height is now 300 mm here in this text box. The text height is showing 300 and the font is automatically style 1 Arial. Because I have not drawn the text box, I am just using the one text already I have written in the drawing, adjusted its height and font, and then I am using copy paste and pasting at various times, various places, and then I am editing this. So now I can just select all these text and I will type ground floor plan. And now I can click outside, or you can close this text editor. Suppose you want to adjust in one line, so you can drag this, and in this way my text is ready and it is again exactly at the center below here. So this is in one alignment. That is the important thing. So ground floor plan that I have mentioned. Now the important task is now we have to show the dimension in these rooms. So for showing the dimension, the important step now today we are learning. In previous session we have taken it that way. So we will just go to that again to the annotation panel. Now here, now you just see that suppose I am trying to give the align dimension here and I want to show suppose the width of this toilet block, and I will click here and I will show it here. So on the command line, you may find that the dimension is proper. So dimension text is 1200. It is indicating here. You can just see and enlarge this and you can observe this. To identify the dimension line, you can have also the change in the dimension line color. So that is also a good thing. But then also the dimension is not appearing properly and this plan is also not appearing properly. So we have to take the appropriate steps to give the proper dimension to the building drawing. And in that respect, now today we will proceed one by one, and the important steps now you have to note down in your notebook, that is to create the dimension style. Now, so this is the second dialog box here, combo box here, where in the annotation panel, the second command given here is dimension style. So it is dim style is the command shortcut. So I have to create a new dimension style wherein I have to ensure that the text font should be Arial font and its height should be minimum 300 and it should appear properly on the building drawing. So these three things we have to understand. One is proper text height, one is proper font, and other is proper elements of the dimension. So here, first of all, you have to understand what are the elements of the dimension, any dimension. Suppose you want to show any dimension. So for example, I will just go here for this small size drawing. So you can see that. So this is one of the dimension, that is 65.47. It shall be 45 point, but it is not appearing point, it is appearing comma. So this also another fourth challenge that we have to address. So having a proper font, having a proper size of the text, having the proper size of this arrow and the dimension line and all these things, and having a proper dot in the dimension. So all these things now you have to ensure. And to resolve these issues, we have to create the new dimension style. So you have to see that in any dimension, whenever we are talking about, so this is the dimension text, means 65.47 is the dimension text or value. Then this is the line which is parallel to this object. So this line is called as dimension line. And with the dimension line, there are arrowheads are there. So these arrowheads may be of different types. In the engineering drawing, we can understand this type of different arrowheads. But generally, this is the arrowheads that we are using at this moment. So arrowhead should be there on the both the ends of the dimension line. And then this is the one of the line which is extension line. Which is extension line means our dimension point is this one. So this is the actual original dimension point. But here I have to show this line which is perpendicular to this object. So line perpendicular to the object, that is called as here extension line. Now this extension line should be properly appearing and it should be starting from some of the gap from the origin. So this is the origin and there is a gap between this starting of this extension line. So this gap also we have to taken care of. Otherwise, if this gap is small, then your dimension is appear to being attached to the drawing. So it is not appearing properly. You can just check out with the building drawing that when I am showing the dimension, so it is as good as appearing to attach to this drawing. So that should not happen. So for that purpose, you have to ensure that in the extension line, there should be a gap from the origin. And then at the both the end, this extension line is going beyond the dimension line. So this is the dimension line and the extension line is beyond the dimension line. So this distance at both the end, it shall be equal. So here the distance beyond the dimension line and distance beyond the dimension line at the left end and right end, it shall be equal. So for all these things, we have to address this issue by creating a new dimension style. So today's important topic is how to create a new dimension style for building drawing dimension. So that we will proceed with the step. So first step here, I already discussed that first step is to create the Arial font using the new text style. So that we have done already. Now we will jump for the creating the dimension style. So we will go to the manage dimension style command. So I will click here. Now with the manage dimension style, we have to create a new dimension style. So I will create on the new. So when I click on the new, so then I have to give the name to that. So you can also always give that you have to identify that practice. So I will now here give DIM. I will give it name that capital or you can small also. DIM STYLE dimension style 1. And for remembering, you can also write down the name of the font ARIA. So this is the dimension style that I have created using the Arial font and it is for building. So that you have to remember. So I will continue with the dimension style. Now this name you can give as you properly know. Now in this manage new dimension text style dialog box, here you have to remember that there are various tabs are there. So these tabs we will understand in the upcoming lectures in detail. But today in the session, we will talk about the creating a new dimension style. So in the new dimension style, the first tab is line tab. Now in the line tab, now you have to note down some of the steps that are very much important and they are very crucial to take to create the new dimension style. So that is the first step is in the line tab, you have to give the baseline spacing that is default is 3.75. You have to change this value to 150. So you have to note down in your notebook that the baseline spacing shall be 150 millimeter. So that is the one thing. Then offset from the origin and extension beyond the dimension line. So these are the two elements that we have to adjust. So this extension beyond the dimension line, that also I am taking 150. And offset from the origin, that also I am taking 150. So for the sake of convenience, we can remember the value of 150. So that is very easy for us. So I am giving everywhere 150, 150, 150. So baseline spacing 150, extension beyond the dimension line 150, and offset from the origin is also 150. So that changes, 3 changes I have made in the line tab. Then I am going to the symbol and arrow tab. Here we have to give the size of the arrow, that also that you can take it as 200 or 150 or 200. So already we have taken 150 in that dialog box. Here you can have the arrowhead of 200. So that change I have now done here. Now in the next third tab, you have to go to the text tab. Now in the text tab, there are so many things are there we have to adjust. But the important thing is that you have to understand the text style that you have to use should be Arial font. So in the text style dialog box, I will go here and I will select the style 1 Arial. Now I have taken the style 1 Arial as the text style. And now then all other things that you can manage. But at present now, I have just already said you that the text height shall be minimum, it shall be 250 millimeter or 300 millimeter as you can take. But I prefer 250 millimeter, that is the dimension text will appear 2.5 millimeter in the drawing when we print that drawing. So that you have to remember the text height shall be 250. And then offset from the dimension line, that you have to remember that should be 50. Already we have taken 150, so this you have to take it 1/3. So this is 50 millimeters. So this is the offset from dimension line, means at what distance the text shall appear from the dimension line. So that gap should be 50 mm between the text and the dimension line. So this is the gap between the text and the dimension line, and it shall be 50. So these parameters now you have to change. Now another issue that we have to fix is that in the primary unit, this value should be in properly decimal places. So it shall be like 0.00. So here the decimal separator that we have to ensure it shall be a full stop or a dot or period. So I am just using here the decimal separator in the dimension value is period. So that also you have to ensure. Now with these changes, so I have already used line tab. There I have adjusted the baseline spacing 150, extension beyond the dimension line 150, offset from the origin 150. Then in the symbol and arrow tab, size of the arrow, I have taken that 200 millimeter. And then in the text window, I have changed the text style to the style 1 Arial font. And then selected the text height as 250 millimeter, that we have to type it here. And in the last, offset from the dimension line that I have mentioned is here is 50. So with these changes in the primary unit, I have changed the decimal separator to period. Now this dimension style is generally very much proper for our building drawing. So now we will just click it on OK. So here I have created one of the dimension style with the proper setting which I require for my building drawing. So with this, I will just click here on the set current. So this Arial font, the dimension style 1 will be now used for my drawing, and then I will click on the close button. So this is the very much important step, dear friends, that you have to create a proper dimension style. And in the today's lecture that we have seen now. Now you can just see that here. Now I will try to give the dimension to this building plan. So here I will now just go to the linear dimension. So I will click here, and now I will click this corner and this corner, and you can just see that very nicely the dimension is shown as 3000. So you can see that it is appearing properly. The text height is 250 millimeter, and here the distance from this text to this line, so dimension line and the text, in between that, this is the gap. So this gap should be 50 mm, that already we have given in the style creation dialog box. And then here now similarly we can just show the vertical dimension. So I am again using the linear dimension command, and I can show the dimension as here you can see the 3600. So this 3600 now is appearing with the overlapping with this text. So I can click here on this grip and I can move this to aside. So that is also possible while giving the dimension. So now you can see that the dimensions are operating very properly. Now with this, we will try to give the dimension outside this building. So for that, just I will delete this small of the part here, and now I will just give the dimension on this side. So here to give the dimension, I will just use again the linear dimension command. Now I will click this point and I will click this point, and now I will place my dimension here. So guys, you have to here remember that this dimension is properly placed beside this wall. So here you have to ensure that when I select this dimension, my origin is this corner of this wall and the corner of this wall. But here my extension line, this is my extension line. This extension line start from the proper gap and that gap I have defined as 150 millimeter. So it shall be appear little bit aside to that object or building drawing. So that you have to ensure. So that we have done it very nicely here. Now with this, this is our dimension line. So there are two arrowheads, this one and this one. So the size of this arrow is 200 millimeter. So that is also proper arrowhead for that building drawing. And then this is the extension beyond the dimension line. So this is also 150 millimeter. So these things you have to keep in mind. And with this, you can just see that very nicely I have placed this outer dimension of the building. Similarly, we can show the dimension on this end also. So I will just use again linear dimension command and I will click from here to here and I can show the horizontal dimension. That is, you can just click now here. This is, I have just taken that. What you have to ensure means, you have to ensure that this distance shall be also 150, this shall be also 150, and this gap shall be also 150. In that way, you have to place this text. Once this was done, and you feel that the text is attaching to that object, so what you can do, you can just use this dot grip mode and move this little bit aside, and you can just keep it here also. So in that way, so the dimension is proper, but I have just moved it aside that room wall. So this can be also done if you feel that the dimensions are too close to the object. So you select to that dimension, click on any of the origin, and then using the grip mode, start the move command, and you can just move aside. So this dimension is get placed aside of the building drawing. So in the proper spacing, you can show the dimension on all around this. But dear friends, this is not all about the dimensioning technique. So here also there are so many few important commands are there in the dimension style command. So that two dimension line commands, that now we will proceed. So first we have completed our creating the new dimension style, so that now we can properly show the dimensions on the object or on a building drawing or on a building plan. So that now we have completed. So with this, now we will proceed for showing the continuous dimension. Now as you know that, suppose this is my building plan and suppose this is my column. This is my column here. So at the every column, at the every wall, there are columns. So then I have to show the separate dimension of that every room, every room and the wall thickness. All that you have to show on the outer side of the building plan. So for that purpose, what we can go? We can go to the dimension command and you can just click. This is our first point, and second point I am just getting tracked from here. And this dimension you can just see, you have to place this 230 here, so that on the both the side these lines length shall be equal. Now this 230 I have shown, but now this 230 is going on the right side, and I don't want here because I want to show here the another dimension. So you can click on this 230 and you can move this text on the other side also. So that you have to also try with your practice, that you have to adjust the proper position of the text shown in the dimension. So I have now adjusted. Now with this 230 dimension, so first dimension I have shown by using this linear dimension command. Now I can show the remaining dimension in continuation with this line. So that also we have to use automatically by using the dimension line command option. So how that can be done? So for that purpose, now you have to see that I will go to the linear dimension command and I will just select this is my suppose first dimension. So with this, suppose this is my first dimension from here to here, and I am now showing the dimension 230. So you can again start this dimension command. So in the dimension command, when you have shown all these things, so you have to use the command line options, various command line options. So for that purpose, now today you have to remember that the first dimension I have shown by using the linear dimension command. Now you have to click on this dimension command. So this is a dimension command, simple dimension command. So click here. So as soon as you click here, the dimension line command line appears. So in the dimension command line, there is an option that you can show the continuous dimension. This is the continuous option. So here for continuous dimension, you have to type C at the command line. So I will type C here and I will press enter. Now with this command line asking me that specify the first extension line. Means first extension line means you have to select the extension line of this 230 dimension. So that I have now selected. Now what I have to do? I have to only click the upcoming subsequent points where I want to show the dimension. So now at that, I will just click this point. Then I will click this point. Then I will click this point and I will click this point. And now I will press enter to end the command and escape to close the command. So in this way, you can see that very nicely I have shown all the dimensions of the one side of the building, whatever the room inside dimension and the wall thickness and internal dimension. So in this way, on the building drawing or a building plan, you can use the continuous dimension option. So that option I have used from the command line, and you can show the continuous dimension for the building drawing. Now in this case, suppose this 230 is not appearing properly. So instead of that, what you can go, you can select this because here the 230 is indicated properly. So you can just copy this here from this grip mode, move command by pressing the space bar, then C for copy command at the command line, and then I can place this here. Yes. And now you can escape and you can delete this additional 230 here. Means now here also the same 230 dimension is appearing at both the wall thicknesses, and these are the room internal dimensions. So in this way, you should be able to show the dimension in the parallel to each other. So this is one of the important thing. Now the another requirement for the building drawing is to show the baseline dimension. Now whenever I want to give the center line layout of this type of plans, so I want the chainage from the baseline. So in such cases, now I have to show the baseline dimension. So that demonstration now we will look. So for that, for a while, I am just moving these dimensions aside so that we can try to use the baseline dimension command here with the same drawing. So that now I have completed. Now for the same building drawing, we will show the baseline dimensions. So again, the same step is there. First of all, you have to show the linear dimension first. So by showing using the linear dimension command, I will click this point and again this point, and now I will just show this 230 dimension. For the sake of convenience, I will move this 230 text on the on this side, so it is appearing properly at the same location. And now this is my linear dimension. Now I will click on this command. So this is the dimension command, and on the dimension command, now at this time I will use the baseline option. So you can see that this is a baseline option on the command line given. So this is the DIM command. So B I have to type at the command line. So I will type B and press enter. Now it will use baseline option for showing the dimension. Now for the baseline option, again you have to specify the first extension line. Means you have to specify the first extension line or origin of the baseline. So you have to show this line because this is our first dimension line that we have drawn. So I will click this line. And now for the subsequent point, now only you have to go on clicking these points. Only click here, now click here and click here. So in this way, you can see that the all dimensions are starting from the same baseline. So this is my baseline because I have chosen this line as a baseline, and for the subsequent points, I have shown the distance from the baseline. So in this case, this distance is 230. This is 320. This is 3460. This is 46004890. So it is automatically shown. All the dimensions are in the chainage dimension. So these are the actually the chainage of these locations. Means this point is 3230 away from the origin. Suppose I am considering this as the origin. So for a sake of convenience, if these are not appearing properly, so you can just move them away. So I will just select all the three lines, and now then I will just try to drag them out. So these 3 dimension I have chosen, and now I will move this a little bit up. Now and then also I will use this, and I will again take it to up. And now also I will take this one, and I can take this two also up. Suppose you want very much closer, so you can adjust accordingly. So I will just again a little bit go down here. Then I will also drag this one little bit close again. Yes, and I can also drag this down also. So in this way, you can see that all these dimensions are shown from the common baseline. So this is the common baseline, and all the dimensions are shown so in the increasing order. So for a building drawing, when we want to draw a center line layout, so for that, for every column position or every center line, you want the chainage from the one baseline. So in the generally building plan, we consider the front plot size as a 0 line, and then for the subsequent column center lines, we add the chainages. So we require the distance from the baseline only. So in such cases, we have to use this baseline dimension option. So my dear friends, you have to remember that these are the important topics that we have seen today. So you have to remember this. This is the very important session where we are learning the how to give the proper dimension in the building drawing, how to write down the proper text with the proper height and proper font. And then we have seen the two important options, that is the continuous dimension option. So that is this is the continuous dimensions type. So all the lines are in one same line, but the dimensions are in continuation. So this gap is 230, this gap is 3000, this gap is 230, this gap is 1200, this is 230. In this way, for a one side of the building plan, you can show all the dimensions very systematically with all the required dimensions sizes. Now, for the center line purpose or the chainage purpose, we can use the baseline option. So these are the various options now that today we have seen. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. So again, you have to remember that for such type of drawings you are creating, so you have to save it frequently. So after every 5 minutes, you should give the save command, so that there should not be any loss of the drawing, whatever the now working you have done. So I hope that today's session is very much important and you like that. So type your feedback in the chat box, and then after a few minutes, we will close the today's session. If you are having any question or doubt, then you can just type your question in the chat box, or and then otherwise we will close the today's session. So I hope that today's steps are very much important to create the dimension style. Now whenever now you are going with this upcoming sessions where we are observing the various building drawings, so there we have to understand that what are the various elements of the dimension lines and how they are adjusted, and accordingly for your building drawing you have to give the proper dimensionings. So that's all for the today's session of the advanced dimensioning functions that we have seen today. So thank you once again for joining this online session. Now the next session will be again day after tomorrow on the 10th of the December, and I hope that the important thing that I want to ask, that the many of the students, all of you are now your papers has been now, I think it is completed. So I just require the consent that shall we continue the lecture on everyday basis now, because that we are now continuing it on the alternate day. So if it is possible that, so that also you can mention. So we can have the continuous session, because now in the month of December and January we have to complete our building planning, drawing and designing part. So there are few 2-3 sessions are there where the basic commands are now remaining that we will complete, and after 2-3 lectures, then we will actually start working on the building planning drawing project. So there everybody has to bring one of the building plan, and then we have to create the detailed drawing, working drawing using the AutoCAD commands. So I wish you every best wishes for your this skill development online session. So thank you once again for joining this session. See you in the next class on 10th December. Thank you.